Welcome back. All right, 7 games to review from this evening. If you're looking for the earlier games that took place today, that review is already on the channel. All right, so let's go ahead and start things off. We're going to talk about Buffalo and Florida. Luukkonen versus Vanecek in this one. Vanecek's career has really been turned around by going to Florida, just got to say. Panthers press at 1.5 minutes, Sabres press at 3.5 minutes. Tage Thompson has a wrister that's held. The shots are 2-1 Florida, 5 minutes in. We get a power play for the Panthers. Malenstein, during that penalty kill, took a puck, looked like it hit him in the throat. That's not fun. The Sabres do finish the kill. Then there's a crossbar for Tuck on a 2-on-1 rush. The Sabres press with 8.5 minutes left. The teams trade rush chances. The Panthers press with 2 minutes left. Benson's denied on a rush. With 1:06 left, the Sabres get a power play, and they score on it. At 19:40, it's Dahlin from Zucker and Peterka. It's 1-0 Buffalo after 1. Second period, the Panthers press at 2 minutes. 3 minutes in, the shots are already 7-1 for the Panthers. McLeod fires one wide on a rush, and then at 5 minutes, Verhaeghe just outweights Luukkonen and then roofs it. Jones and Rodriguez with the assists, so it's a 1-1 tie. Kulik's denied as the Sabres look for another. Samoskevich has a rush chance that's saved. Shots are 9-8 Florida with 7.5 minutes left. The Sabres press with 6.5 minutes left, and then at 14:47, it's a shot past a screen. It deflects in. Puljujarvi credited with the goal from Balinskis and Verhaeghe. It's a 2-1 lead for Florida. Panthers look for another. There's 2 minutes of 4-on-4 shortly after that. Kulik has a rush chance that's blocked. Things get punchy at center with 2:23 left. No penalties coming out of that. 1:59 left. Florida goes to a power play. So that runs to the end of the period. No goals scored. And so we go to the third period with the score 2-1 for Florida. There's an early press by Florida in the third. Benson has a net feed that's blocked. Tuck had a fight with Gadjevich. Shots are 4-0 Florida at 3.5 minutes. We get a power play for Florida. It's all killed off. And then there's all kinds of punching with 9:41 left. And it took a while for them to sort out who got what penalty and when. The Sabres came out with a 2-man advantage. Eventually they scored on it just as it's coming to an end. At 12:18, Peterka scores from Dahlin and Tuck to tie the game at 2. We then get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. We end up going to overtime, tied at 2. Panthers controlled early. Kulik then has a shot that saved the Panthers rush. Boquist is denied on a breakaway, but we're going to the shootout. In the shootout, Lundell with the winner for Florida. And so it's a 3-2 shootout victory for Florida. They go to 47-29-4 with the win. With the loss in the shootout, the Buffalo Sabres 35-37-7 on the season. Shots on net, 9-7 Florida in the first, 15-11 Florida in the second, 8-7 Florida in the third, and then 3-2 Buffalo in the overtime. Final shots 34-28 for the Panthers. Power plays Buffalo 2 for 3, Florida 0 for 3. The hits 34-20 in favor of the Panthers. Luukkonen saves 32 out of 34. Vanecek saves 26 out of 28. Like I said, Vanecek's career just turned around since he got there. All right, Montreal-Toronto. Dobesh versus Stolars. The Habs press at 2.5 minutes, but they don't get shots out of it. The only shot on that belongs to Toronto 4 minutes in. Caulfield fires one high on a rush. We get a power play for Montreal. That's killed off. Shots are 4-2 for Toronto with 8.5 minutes left. The Habs get some pressure with 7.5 minutes left. The Leafs then get some pressure with 4 minutes left. Not a lot of shots getting to the net when Montreal gets their pressures, though. They only had 2 shots in that first period. Tavares is denied and close. Dobesh holds. Holmberg then has a wraparound that's held as Dobesh is keeping this scoreless after the first. Second period, Suzuki has a net drive chance that's saved. Hudson misses one high as the Habs get some pressure. We then get a power play for Toronto. That's killed off. I don't think they had a shot during that one. Suzuki has a rush chance that deflects high. Shots are 2-1 Montreal at 7 minutes. Gouli has a fight with Domi. We then get a power play for Montreal. That's killed off. The Leafs press after they're done killing that penalty. Toronto goes back to the power play, so Montreal kills that off as well. Gallagher has a rush that's fired wide out of the box. Got to watch that guy coming out of the box. Holmberg has a net drive that's blocked. It stays 0-0 after 2. Third period. So power play for Toronto. That becomes 18 seconds of 5-on-3, and Marner flat out misses an open net. Riley then has a net feed that's held. The Leafs call a timeout during that 5-on-4 as the 5-on-3 is done, but the Habs finish the kill. The shots are 5-1 Toronto at 8 minutes. Benoit has a screenshot that's kicked aside. The Habs press with 9.5 minutes left. There's a toe save on Suzuki. The Leafs clear. Shots are 12-5 for Toronto with 5 minutes left. The Leafs press with 3.5 minutes left. But we're going to overtime. with no goals scored as of yet. The Habs controlled early. Suzuki nearly jams one in, but the puck goes the other way, and at 35 seconds, Marner wires one on a net drive. Nylander with the assist. It's a 1-0 victory for Toronto in overtime, so the Tony the Tiger Magnets on the board for the shutout, and the Chess Magnets on the board because there were 3 or less goals in the game. With the win, Toronto goes to 49-26-4 on the season, with the overtime loss Montreal 39-31-10, but they do get closer to clinching a playoff spot. Shots on net, 10-2 Toronto in the first, 11-5 Toronto in the second, 13-8 Toronto in the third, and they had the only shot of overtime. It's all they needed. Final shots 35-15 in favor of Toronto. Power plays, Montreal 0 for 2, Toronto 0 for 4. The hits, 24-21 Toronto. Dobesh, 34 saves on 35 shots. He's the reason Montreal gets a point. Stolarz, not busy, but he saves all 15 shots in a victory via a shutout for himself. All right, next up, Winnipeg and Chicago. So kind of the anti this game. This game was crazy. Hellebuck versus Knight. Early press by the Jets. They're kept to the outside. Appleton has a tip shot that's held. At 4 minutes, the Jets had the only shot on net. Press by Winnipeg at 5 minutes. The Hawks get some pressure 8.5 minutes in. We then get a power play for Winnipeg. There's a shorthanded Nazar net drive that's a near miss, and then Foligno hits the empty net. It's the first shot on goal for Chicago in the game, and at 10 minutes and 40 seconds, they're up 1-0 on a shorthanded marker. The Hawks then finish the kill. Not long after, Chicago gets a power play, and at 13:21, Bedard with a one-timer from the left circle scores. Rinzel and Nazar with the assist. That was only the third shot on net for Chicago. 2 of them have gone in the net. Hawks then press with 3 minutes left, and they're up 2-0 after the first period, to the shock of probably many. Second period, early press by the Jets. Good forechecking by Chicago. The Jets then press at 3.5 minutes. They're kept to the outside. The shots are actually 4-2 Chicago 5 minutes into the period. Nazar's denied on a 2-on-0 break that the Chicago had. Iafallo's then denied on a rebound. We get a power play for the Jets, and they score on it. At 11:15, it's Niederreiter going glove side past a screen. The assist to Sandberg and Pionk. Ehlers was then down. He collided with the linesman. It was a total accident, of course. Did not look good. Ehlers needed help getting off the ice. The playoffs start a week from tonight. I don't know if Ehlers is going to be good to go by then, by how he exited. Shots are 11-10 for the Hawks with 5.5 minutes left. At 16:03, Connor goes far side from the left circle to tie the game at 2. Iafallo with the assist there. Hawks look to respond. The Jets press with 1.5 left. It's 2-2 after 2. Third period, Nemestikov has a 2-on-1 chance that's held, and then at 2:06, Morrissey with a slap shot past a screen gives Winnipeg their first lead of the game at 3-2. The assist to Nemestikov and Perfetti. Shots are 5-3 for the Jets at 6.5 minutes. We get a power play for Chicago. That's killed off. 2 shots on net. Jets press at the half, but at 10:53, Donato goes far corner. It's actually tipped in by Brandon Tanev. A little bit of an own goal there. The assist to Bedard and Vlasic. The Hawks then press for the lead, and they get it at 14:05. Nazar rifles one from the inner slot. Bertuzzi and Levshinov with the assists. So it's a lead at 4-3 until at 16:13. Morrissey with the second goal of the game. He roofs this one from the left circle. DeMello and Connor with the assists. So Connor, I think, at 96 points now. He has a shot at 100. Nazar then has a buzzer beater, near miss there. It's 4-4, and we're going to overtime. The overtime early turnovers by both teams. Sandberg has a shot that's saved. Nino's denied. And Niederreiter being denied is one of the 6 shots the Winnipeg had in that overtime. None of them fool Spencer Knight. So we go to the shootout. Cole Perfetti solves Spencer Knight and gets the winner. So Winnipeg, a bit of a scare here. They win in a shootout 5-4. They go to 55-21-4. They clinch first place in the Western Conference with that win. And of course, first in the Central. I'm pretty sure they have first in the whole conference sewn up, because Dallas, I believe, has more points than does Vegas. So first place is clinched by the Jets for the first time in their existence. Chicago 23-46-11 with the shootout loss. Shots on net 8-4 Winnipeg in the first, 13 apiece in the second, 14 apiece in the third, 6-1 Winnipeg in the overtime. Final shots 41-32 for the Jets. Power plays, both teams go 1 for 2 on the power play. The hits 28-16 Winnipeg. Hellebuck saves 28 out of 32. Knight saves 37 out of 41. All right, next up, Utah and Dallas. It's Vejmelka versus DeSmith, and I'll try to just go through the notes I've got on the board here. Power play for Dallas, and they score on it. At 2:48, it's Johnston roofing one from the slot. Hintz and Rantanen with the assists. In fact, shots are 2-1 Dallas at 4 minutes. Things nice and calm at this point. Utah presses at 4.5 minutes. The Stars go back to the power play. That's killed off. Utah then gets a power play in Dallas. Their penalty kill tonight was it was something. Hayden tips in a point shot. The assist to Sergachev and Gunther at 8:11, so that ties the game at 1. Stars go back to the power play. Things get pushed on a hold by Vejmelka during that. That power play is killed off. Stars press with 3.5 minutes left. With 1 second left, Utah gets a power play. So that rolls over into the second period. The score tied at 1. Dallas would score shorthanded. At 32 seconds, it's Smith from Blackwell and Steele. There you go. You have a 2-1 lead. However, Utah then scores on that same power play. At 1:21, it's Dursey from Cooley and Doan. That's a one-timer from the high slot. And it ties the game at 2. Stars look to respond. Shots are 4-2 for Utah at 5 minutes. And at 7:04, Cooley roofs a wrister on a rush. The assist to Mata, so it's 3-2 in favor of the Utah Hockey Club. Stars press with 8 minutes left. The shots are 9-6 for Utah with 6 minutes left. We then get a power play for Utah, and they score on it. It's Doan burying one in close, McBain and Cooley with the assists at 18:06. But Dallas would answer. Robertson scores from Dumba and Rantanen at 18:53. It's 4-3 Utah after 2 periods of play. Third period, shots are 4-1 Utah at 3 minutes, so they came out pretty well in that third period. Utah presses at 4 minutes. Keller fires one high. Utah is in complete control. They end up drawing a power play, and they score on this one too. Schmaltz takes 10 seconds. The more practice they get, the better they got at it. Schmaltz from Hayden and Gunther at 5:32. Scores now 5-3 in favor of the Utah Hockey Club. Ben has a 2-on-1 chance that's denied. He's been looking for the 400th goal for a while, and it gets more painful than this. Shots are 9-5 Utah with 5.5 minutes left. With 4:45 left, Stars get a power play. That's killed off. Teams trade rushes. The goalie pull happens with 1 minute and 29 seconds left, and Jamie Benn gets goal number 400. But when they review it, they go, no, goalie interference, so he stays at 399, and Dallas loses 5-3. Utah 37-30-13 with the win. With the loss, Dallas 50-24-6 on the season. Shots on net, 11-10 Utah in the first, 12-7 Utah in the second, 11-7 Utah in the third. Final shots, 34-24 for Utah. Utah scored on all 4 of their power plays. Dallas went 1 for 4. The hits, 13-11 for Utah. Vejmelka saves 21 out of 24 to Smith, 29 saves on 34 shots. Dallas has got to get their game back, and they have a week to do it. So they might be taking a bit of a drop in the power rankings this week. Just saying, might be a little bit of a drop with, what is this now, 5 losses in a row? That's not great. All right, let's go to board number 2. All right, Minnesota and Vancouver. So it's Gustafsson versus Lankinen, and 3 minutes and 11 seconds in, Vancouver scores. Marcus Pettersson goes short side on a rush. It was the second shot on net for Vancouver. Carlson and Bluger with the assists. It's 1-0 for Vancouver. Sherwood has a tip shot that's saved. Shots are 3 apiece at 5 minutes. Things get pushy on a hold by Lankinen, who was very busy tonight. Canucks press at 7.5 minutes. The Wild press at the half. Canucks get some pressure with 7.5 minutes left. There's an offensive zone penalty by Bluger that brings that pressure to an end. Then there's a shorthanded rush by Sherwood that's denied. At least they killed off the power play to maintain their 1-0 lead. Hartman then has a one-time it's kicked aside. It's 1-0 Vancouver after 1. Second period, early press by the Wild. Things get pushed and a hold by Lankinen. There's a power play for Vancouver. That's killed off. The Canucks press after the power play's done. Shots are 4-1 Minnesota at 8.5 minutes. The Canucks draw a power play, and they score on it at 13:08. DeBrusk puts one past the screen. It's actually tipped in. Höglander and Hughes with the assists. It's 2-0 Vancouver. The Wild look to respond. Bluger to O'Connor. There's a near miss. It's 2-0 Vancouver after 2. Third period, 22 seconds in. Faber puts one in past a screen from the slot. Matthew Boldy with the assist, so now it's 2-1. Early whistle bails out Lankinen on the next play, because otherwise it would have been 2-2. Then Trennan has a fight with Forbert, and while Forbert's down on the ice and held, Trennan decides to punch him, and his head hit the ice. So Trennan gets 5 in a game, and then he kind of resisted as he was being thrown out of the game. So he does exit. I do think there should be a suspension, punching a guy while he's down on the ice is generally considered a giant no-no in the NHL when it comes to fighting. So, but all the penalties they gave out, it stays 5-on-5. So there's times where officials, when something like this goes on, I feel like they're trying to call it so that everything stays even on the ice. It kind of drives me crazy. Faber then has a net drive that saved the Wild draw power play. That's killed off. DeBrusk then has a rush chance that saved the Wild press with 9.5 minutes left, and eventually they get the tying goal at 13-14. Marcus Foligno tips in a net feed. Hartman and Brazo with the assist. The Canucks would press with 4 minutes left, but it was pretty obvious this was going to overtime. Suter steals one from Faber. Kaprizov to Zuccarello gets blocked as the Wild get the puck back. And then at 2:47, Zuccarello buries his next chance to give Minnesota the win. Kaprizov and Faber with the assists. So it's a 3-2 win in overtime for Minnesota. They go to 44-30-7. They get this much closer to clinching their playoff spot. Vancouver drops to 37-29-14, and of course they're already eliminated. Shots on net favored Minnesota the whole way through. 12-6 in the first, 7-4 in the second, 13-4 in the third, and they had the only shot of overtime. Final shots 33-14 for Minnesota. The Wild 0-2 on the power play. Vancouver 1-3. The hits 30-17 for Minnesota. Gustafsson 12 saves on 14 shots. Lankinen was very good. He's the only reason the Canucks get a point tonight. 30 saves on 33 shots. All right, next up, Nashville and Vegas. Annunen versus Hill are early pressed by Vegas. In fact, the shots are 3-0 for the Golden Knights at 3 minutes. Hurdle has a net drive that's blocked. It was nice to see him back, and it was nice to see Marchessault get a welcome back video on his return to Vegas tonight wearing a Nashville jersey, which had to look weird to Golden Knights fans. Then there's a press by Nashville at 7 minutes, and at 8 minutes and 11 seconds, Osterley on what was the first shot for Nashville. It's a one-timer short side, Evangelista and Bunting with the assist. So even though Vegas had controlled most of this game, Nashville's up 1-0. Vegas presses to respond. We get a power play for the Golden Knights. That's killed off. Vegas presses with 4.5 minutes left. Stone has a slot shot. That's blocked. It's 1-0 Nashville after 1. Second period, we get a power play for Vegas. That's killed off. And then back-to-back goals by Vegas. First, at 4:02, it's Howden from McNabb and Pearson. And then at 5:36, it's Roy from Kolasar and Theodore. And suddenly it's a 2-1 lead for the Golden Knights. Shots are 4-0 Vegas at 7.5 minutes. Roy has a rush chance that's defended. Vegas goes back to the power play, and they score on it. At 11:09, it's Holtz burying one in close. Carlson and Smith with the assist, so now it's a 3-1 lead for Vegas. Vegas looks for another. Forsberg has a net feed that's picked off. There's a press by Nashville with 7 minutes left. Pearson would fire one high on a rush. It's 3-1 Vegas after 2. Third period. Roy has a 2-on-1 chance that's saved. The team's trade rushes, and at 1:02, Marchessault scores against his former team from LaRue and Barron. O'Reilly then has a screenshot that's held. Vegas presses at 4.5 minutes, but the puck goes the other way, and at 4:58, Del Gaizo ties the game from Englund and Evangelista. Somehow, some way, Nashville is tied this game in Vegas. Shots are 6-3 for Nashville at 8.5 minutes. Good forechecking by Nashville as well. Things get pushy on a hold by Aiden Hill. There's more pressure by Nashville with 8 minutes left. Nashville then draws a power play. That's killed off. And at 18:05, Hannafin with a one-timer from the point gives Vegas back the lead at 4-3. White, Cloud, and Smith with the assists. The goalie pull happens with 1:25 left. And at 19:58, Barbashev hits the empty net for the goal. Roy and Howden with the assists, and so it's a 5-3 win for Vegas. They go to 49-22-9 with the win. With the loss, Nashville 29-43-8 on the season. Shots on net, 15-5 Vegas in the first, 7-5 Vegas in the second, and then 7 apiece in the third. Final shots, 29-17 in favor of the Golden Knights. Power plays, Nashville 0-1, Vegas 1-3. The hits 20-11 in favor of Nashville. Annunen, 24 saves on 28 shots. Hill, 14 saves on 17 shots. I thought Annunen was good, really good in that first period, and is the only reason why Nashville had a lead. And then Vegas figured things out after that. All right, last game of the night, and before we get to tomorrow's preview, we're going to talk about St. Louis and Seattle. Binnington versus Grubauer. There were no shots 3 minutes in. Very low event first period. Walker fires one wide on a rush. We get a power play for Seattle. Wright has a wrist shot that's held during that. That power play is killed off. The shots were 3-1 in favor of Seattle with 7 minutes left. Kraken press with 5 minutes left. It was very much low event hockey. 8 total shots in that first period. Second period, early press by the Blues. Schen's denied. Grubauer holds. The shots are 3-1 for St. Louis at 3.5 minutes. And then at 3:44, Jaden Schwartz, the former member of the St. Louis Blues, buries a rebound on a rush. Eberle with the assist. It's 1-0 for Seattle. Blues press at 9 minutes. The shots are 7-4 for the Blues with 9.5 minutes left. The teams then trade turnovers. The Blues end up drawing a power play. Bolduc has a slot shot that saved. That power play's killed off. The Blues press after it's done, but it's still 1-0 Seattle after 2. Third period. Fowler gets hit in the mouth with the puck. They took a while to clean up the ice. I hope Fowler's okay. Guaranteed there's some dental work to be done there. It looked very painful. Early press by the Blues, and at 1:06, Faksa puts one in off Grubauer's pad to tie the game at 1. Walker and Leddy with the assists. The Kraken then press at 2.5 minutes. There's a near miss for Walker. The Blues press after. Shots are 6-0 in favor of St. Louis at 6 minutes, but at 6:44, Asimont scores from Eberle. That makes it a 2-1 lead for Seattle. Eberle then fires one high on a net drive, and then puck goes the other way, and at 7:21, Colton Parayko, in his return to the lineup for St. Louis, scores from Thomas and Kyrou, and then 13 seconds later, Nick Leddy makes it a 3-2 lead for St. Louis at 7:34. Walker and Sundqvist with the assists. Things get pushy on a hold by Grubauer, and then the Kraken would score. It was reviewed to see if it was a kick. It was determined it was not. So at 9:53, it's right from Alexiak and Cartier. We have a 3-3 lead. A lot of scoring in that third period to make up for what was kind of a quiet first 2 periods of play. Blues press with 5.5 minutes left. Thomas would fire one high on a rush. We're going to overtime. The Blues control. They set up. They never did get a shot on net. Burakovsky has a rush chance that's saved. That's about the best chance in the overtime. We go to the shootout, and the shootout goes all the way to round 7, where Chandler Stevenson gets the winner. So St. Louis only gets 1 point, whereas Minnesota gets 2, meaning right now St. Louis is the number 2 wild card. They would be the team that Winnipeg would play in the first round. So there's that. Seattle goes to 35-40-6 with the shootout victory. 43-30-8 is the record for St. Louis. Shots on net, 5-3 Seattle in the first, 9-5 St. Louis in the second, 10-5 St. Louis in the third. Seattle had both shots in the overtime. Neither of them solved the goaltender. Final shots, 22-17 for St. Louis. Power plays, St. Louis 0-1, Seattle 0-2. The hits, 25-18 for St. Louis. Binnington saves 14 out of 17. Grubauer saves 19 out of 22. Okay, let's go ahead and preview tomorrow's action. We've got 9 games on Sunday in the National Hockey League. It's hockey all day again. It is interesting, though, because a lot of these games don't have playoff implications now. So starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, Philadelphia and the Ottawa Senators. Philadelphia 5-4-1 in their last 10, mathematically eliminated. Ottawa 6-3-1 in their last 10. By my calculations, they're guaranteed the number 1 wildcard spot now. So there you go. 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific as well. The Islanders in New Jersey against the Devils. Nothing on the line here either. Islanders 2-5-3 in their last 10, and they're mathematically eliminated because of today's result. Whereas New Jersey 4-5-1 in their last 10, and they're third in the Metro, guaranteed third. 3:30 Eastern. 12:30 Pacific, Boston and Pittsburgh. Both of these teams are out. Boston 2-8 in their last 10. Pittsburgh 5-3-2 in their last 10. So I'm considering over this final week of the season kind of modifying the reviews a little bit and doing other video stuff during the day as well, because honestly there's nothing on the line in a lot of these games. 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. There is something on the line here. Toronto wants to win the division. Toronto's in Carolina. Toronto 7-2-1 in their last 10. They're 4 points ahead of Tampa Bay. Carolina 5-4-1 in their last 10. They're guaranteed second in the Metro. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. Buffalo continues their strong streak through the end of the season. They're in Tampa. Buffalo 7-2-1 in their last 10, but mathematically eliminated, of course. Tampa 5-2-3 in their last 10, and they're tied with Florida for second place in the division. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific start as well between Columbus and Washington. So this might get ugly. Columbus 6-4 in their last 10, 5 points back of a playoff spot, still in this. And for Washington, they're 4-5-1 in their last 10. They've clinched first overall in the East, but these teams really don't like each other coming out of today's game. So we'll see how that goes. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. The Oilers in Winnipeg against the Jets. Winnipeg, nothing to play for, and this is where teams start resting guys, right? Edmonton 6-4 in their last 10. They're 4 points behind LA. I won't be surprised if Edmonton starts resting players as well. I don't know how much they want that home ice advantage in the first round. Winnipeg 7-3 in their last 10. So there you go. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. The San Jose Sharks in Calgary against the Flames. So the Flames are still mathematically alive. The Flames 5-2-3 in their last 10, but they have to win. They have to win. They've kind of got to win out, and then they need some help as well. San Jose 2-6-2 in their last 10. They're not making the playoffs. And then at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, the Colorado Avalanche in Anaheim against the Ducks. Nothing on the line here really. Colorado 5-4-1 in their last 10. They rested guys today. They're third in the Central. Whereas Anaheim 5-5 in their last 10, and they're mathematically eliminated. So let me know your winners for tomorrow's games, and keep in mind that at this time of year, you just don't know what those rosters are going to look like. So should be interesting. But let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.